There he is. How you doing, buddy?
I am. I have arrived. Very good. How are you, mate?
Not too bad at all, mate. Not too bad at all. What are we up to now?
Happy.
I think we're up to episode 6 or episode 7.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Well, the one you did by yourself was episode 5, I'm pretty sure. So episode 6 was last weekend. So yeah, this is lucky
Yeah,
number
so
7.
this should be 7.
Lucky number 7. Before we go any further, folks, how's the audio? Can you hear Brim fine and you can hear me fine? Are you streaming as well, Brim?
No, I'm not streaming at the moment.
No worries. No worries. Otherwise, I was going to say people pop your channel up as well.
They can still go to my channel. I just won't be there at this moment in time.
Everyone's saying the audio is perfect. So without further
Happy
ado,
days.
we will kick it off and welcome to episode, we believe it is number 7, lucky 7 of the Boomer Zone podcast. Tonight, your hosts are me, and the absolutely amazingly professional. If anyone watched your podcast, mate, geez, you fucking made me look like an absolute pleb.
I can assure you that wasn't the intention.
No, it was good, mate. It was really, really good, and that's it really made me happy that you wanted to go ahead and do it, because whilst I've called it the Boomer Zone podcast, that's more of just for a laugh sort of thing. The way I see this is it's a community podcast. It doesn't need me, it doesn't need you, it doesn't need anyone. As long as someone wants to host it, then I think that's a win for DayZ, because like we had last week, we had the amazing Barely Infected on. He was the first one that I know of who did something like this. And I don't know about you guys in chat or you, Brim, but I used to hang for the next episode of Altercast. I fucking loved it because it was two of DayZ's most passionate supporters, Super FT Lol and Renee, talking about the game that I love so much. And it was amazing to hear their very professional point of view on the issues that DayZ was facing at that time. It was amazing.
Yeah, and Lord knows they had some issues at that time.
Oh, didn't it? Didn't it? And then for a while there, we were lucky enough to have Uncooper, Ragebra, Septic, and sometimes someone else doing the Compass podcast. But that fell by the wayside. So I really hope this one doesn't fall by the wayside. I don't know about you, mate, but I look forward to every weekend to being able to do this little podcast. I know the viewers have dropped off. I was up near 20. We're down to 7 now, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoy it. I love being able to talk about DayZ.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just like you said, well, with doing with me and Valis Mike doing one just ourselves the other week when you were off doing your PUBG tournament. You know, it's like you say, it's one of those things. I looked forward to that because I figured, you know, regardless of, like you said, it's a community podcast. So whether it's me doing it, you doing it, someone else doing it, you know, it's still it's fun. You know, and I was I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was sat there the night before thinking, Jesus fucking Christ, how the hell am I going to pull this off?
You did a really good job, mate.
Well, yeah, and I think I've got to give a lot of thanks to Valis Mike for that one as well, because you know, not only is he, you know, very good at the podcast thing himself, you know, but he did jump in sort of last minute to sort of help out and give me someone to speak to and bounce ideas off and give you know, another point of view, which, you know, I think came in very handy.
That's the worst part of doing the podcast, when you're waiting for someone else to confirm attendance. Like this week, I was waiting for someone. I posted up, so who's going to be there? And then you said yes, and I was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to sit there like a tool myself, talking to myself. And
I was fully prepared. I'd sat there and prepared like a full, basically the whole podcast that me and Mike did. I had sat and prepared based on the idea of doing it by myself, and I was comfortable with that. I had everything down pat, ready to rock and roll. And then when Mike said, "Oh, I'd like to join in with that," I was like, fucking hell, right, let's have a quick through and adjust a couple of things for more than one person then. And I think it went rather well.
It did. It went really well, mate. So let's get on to the first point. Now, I talked about it on Monday in a sort of an impromptu Boomer Zone podcast, but there was that rumour that started last weekend, either Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, depends on where you are in the world, but someone put that post up of the Bratislava studio shut down. No new content for DayZ. Now, I actually reached out to the guy who posted it, Snowbally, and he said that he wasn't prepared to go on the record about it or reveal his sources or anything like that. But everything I have been able to find out says that the Bratislava office was Survivor Games.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. I mean, I've not kept hugely in the loop with it because I'm the sort of person that I think, well, it's gonna one thing or another is gonna happen, and either way, I can't see DayZ going anywhere. You know, so it's one of those things where I just figure I'll let everything sort of settle down, let the dust clear, and then sort of go from there because there's no point in me worrying too much or getting involved too much with anything just for it to be a complete non-issue, so to speak. But like you said there, I think the main thing is it is the Bratislava one. It was the Survivor Game Studio. So I mean, I'm not massively up to date. I've got a good idea of what's been going on. So feel free to correct me if I'm, if I'm incorrect with something. But as far as I'm aware, with it being that, they were literally only in charge of the Survivor games, and I don't know about how everyone else feels about the Survivor games. I didn't play it personally, but I did. Well, the iteration that was bastardized about a year ago or whenever it was, but it was one of those where it wasn't great, and I think we can all agree it wasn't what it should have been. It wasn't what it once was years ago. But the fact that they've shut down, I mean, it's sad because obviously people have probably lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods, and what have you. But I can't imagine it being a massive loss in a sense. And it's one of those things where it's not. I can't see it having a massive impact on the main game. And I know we're going to get into it a little bit later on in the podcast. So I'm talking about the expansion mod. But I think when you've got things like the expansion mod coming out, I think in a sort of roundabout way, that expansion mod I think is going to be a nice sort of replacement, if you like, in a sense, to Survivor games. Obviously, we would have loved to have had Survivor games and what it should have been. But to be fair, like I say, I don't think it's going to have a major impact in any way on the future of the game in general.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I've got on the screen right now how I feel about Bohemia Interactive's version of Survivor games. I tried it.
Yeah.
I thought it was terrible, and it died in the arse. It died a truly tragic death for something that was such a massive part of DayZ for not just me, but for a lot of people. Survivor games broke records on Twitch back in the day for the amount of concurrent viewers, and it was an amazing thing, only possible in a game like DayZ/Armour. And then they took it, and I don't know. They tried to make it into like a battle royale, which in its base essence Survivor Games was, but but it just goes to show that sadly, the worst part with this whole post, and there was Reddit posts and Twitter posts and Facebook posts and everything about it, and the amount of people who were so happy to see DayZ is dead. There are, I don't understand the hate. I really don't. I think I said it on Monday. You want to hold up the DayZ doll and say to some of them, show me on the doll where DayZ touched you. Because the level of hatred, like I can't say I haven't seen it in other stuff, but it just seems almost, maybe it's because I love DayZ so much, but oh my god, people were jumping up and down for joy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm partially guilty of that myself, and it's not to the extent that some people were after the news of the Bratislava studio shutting down, but I think DayZ, like you say, it's a fantastic game. We both absolutely love this game. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here talking about it every week. But it is one of those things where Bohemia, you can't deny that Bohemia have dropped the ball on so many occasions with various things over the years that DayZ has almost itself become a meme. And I think people see that in a way online and think, well, it's fair game, so let's just let's not let the meme die, so to speak. And I think it's both a positive and a negative in a way, because whilst not letting the meme die means the game keeps going, it's still getting, the name is still out there, so it's going to help with keeping things, it's like a form of advertising almost. But at the same time, it is quite negative. Like you say, there's a lot of people being very toxic and jumping up and down for joy at the thought that DayZ might be coming to an end, which it clearly isn't. It's definitely not. I think you've shown on episodes of the Boom Zone in the past with the numbers on Steam for the concurrent players and what have you. It's quite clearly, it's one of two things. It's either sitting steady or it's on an upswing. So there's no, it's going nowhere. Just because one studio is shut down doesn't mean anything's gonna really change with the main game. And the developers have come out and said that it was, we're not going to release a massive statement on this, but we're still going to be supporting the game. This was just a studio for Survivor games, nothing really to worry about. Let's look forward to the next update. And the thing that's getting me is so many people are seeing that on Twitter and going, oh, well, I want 1.08. 1.08 was supposed to be out by now, blah, 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 and kicking off. And then I just love the fact that they reply, that the Bohemia, the DayZ Twitter account replies and goes, no, mate, if you noticed what we put back a couple of months ago, we're slowing down this year because last year was fucking mental. So we're going to take a back seat and get things done right.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, I'm like, fucking jog on, mate. You ain't got a clue what you're talking about. Let them do what they're doing.
Yep.
The game's absolutely fine. And
I've got it up again, mate. The chart hasn't changed at all. The last 7 days, the peak was 24,110. It's showing 26,445 for Monday, my time, which would be Sunday, rest of the world. And at the moment, it's sitting on 21,516. Thurston.
Oh, exactly. There you go.
The thing
numbers speak for themselves, don't they?
Is they have already said that they're slowing down this year. And also with COVID, they're not working at the office, and I would assume that the coordination between the team is somewhat dysfunctional currently. Mate, if you want to jump in and join us, you are more than welcome to join us in this part. If you're free, mate. I don't know what you're doing right now, but Thurston's one of the people of the DayZ expansion team.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just jump in and join us in the Discord, mate. I'm pretty sure you've got the roles. Yep, you do. So yeah, DayZ's not dead. DayZ is so far from fucking dead. And I think once the expansion mod drops, I know it's a lot of weight to put on their shoulders, but it's going to blow people away with what they've done. It's going to make Bohemia Interactive look bad. It's sad to say, but it's true. In that a bunch of people who are passionate about this game have done stuff that the dev team themselves couldn't do, which Thurston will probably be able to explain it better. Like, hey mate, how you doing? Can't hear you, buddy.
Oh, hello.
There we go, that's better. How you doing, mate?
Just checking so to connect. I'm doing good, thank you. How about yourself?
Not too bad. So did you hear what I was just saying then about how there is the fear that with all the stuff that you guys have done, and I've watched the videos by Septic, I've watched the video by Rav, you guys are doing some absolutely amazing shit. And a lot of people are going to hang shit on the dev team. But as much as I temper it with, yes, the dev team, they promised us choppers back in 2015. I know the whole roadmap debacle and how they had to backpedal from that because of the new engine. And it's quite a convoluted discussion, but I totally understand why they did. But as I think I said it to someone on a Twitter post, you guys wouldn't be able to do what you're doing without the base engine of the game.
Yeah, that's completely true. And in a day-to-day basis, we practically talk to developers daily. We talk to Sumrak. I speak to Anna, who's the community manager. I speak to Tim, Impulse. We speak to them on a day-to-day basis to get certain things implemented. Like, for instance, 1.08 is going to bring a lot of things for expansion, that is. It's going to help with, for instance, more custom physics side. So We're gonna try to client side some vehicles to see how that goes, that sort of stuff.
I have to ask, have they pinched anything from you?
No, not as far as I know.
I just wonder whether like not pinched per se, but have said, hey, do you mind if we actually take that and implement that in the vanilla version of the game?
Yeah, no, we haven't been messaged or anything like that. Nothing that we've worked on is. I think a lot of stuff that we work on is, doesn't really fit into DayZ. Like, for instance, obviously the vehicles do, so planes, helicopters, stuff like that.
Yep.
But the stuff such as the marker system, the base building, I know they're working on, but I'm not sure how they're doing.
Yep.
Just a load of stuff kind of goes against what they think DayZ stands for, because they see it as, ultra realistic.
See, isn't that interesting that they've done that full 180 on? I don't know whether you watched the hardcore video I did, and I had that excerpt from the Pit Stop Head interview with Brian Hicks, and how Brian was saying that he had to pull Dean back from being full on hardcore, never go full retard, as they say in Tropic Thunder. But now, under Sumrak, they're going back to that more hardcore aspect, which I love personally. But yeah, it's interesting.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I agree with it, because that's kind of what DayZ is, I think with the introduction to console, they made it too arcade. Made it too easy. I feel like console kind of crippled what PC DayZ was supposed to be.
Preach it, sister. Preach it.
Like, I don't know. There's so much that can still be done, but whether they will do it, that's down to them. We're doing expansion. We're doing the best we. We're trying to make, like, my personal vision of expansion is we're trying to expand what DayZ is. How it's played, how people think about certain objectives. Like, for instance, when you think of DayZ now, you think, cool, I'll spawn, get a gun, and build a base. With expansion, you would think, cool, I got to get a heli, get a plane, get a boat, got to get currency for the market system. I've got to build a big fuck off base, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
it's just adding more layers to what DayZ already is, and adding more goals.
Okay,
but I don't know.
We're going to stop there because we're covering a lot of what we're going to do in the Spotlight interview after this.
Yeah.
Double up here. But that's really good to know that we are kind of right in the fact that there's a lot of work. And I think a lot of plebs like myself, and there's a lot of people out there who hang a lot of shit on the dev team or the slow progress and all the rest of it. But I can't imagine what it must be like for them. They're working with a new engine that has been developed for this game, so they're probably learning stuff about what the engine's capable of. And keeping DayZ in the state they have, barring there's been some pretty fucking awful bugs, I will admit, like that inventory bug they left us with over Christmas. I think I said this last week.
Oh, that was horrendous.
Someone deserves to be fucking, hung, drawn, and quartered for that one. That was terrible. The old broken bones, but that was back on the old legacy engine. But I think DayZ's never been better. Unpopular opinion, but that's just I'm thoroughly enjoying playing it.
Yeah, I think that inventory bug was worse as well, because it sort of coincided roughly around the time of Livonia as well.
Yes.
So it made, like, obviously Livonia brought in all these new players that that were excited to try the game, and all these obviously players like us that have been playing for years that were excited to see a new map and give it the old college try, so to speak. And then all of a sudden you've got us with fucking walk up, find the first gun, like, yes, right, I can defend myself now. Oh, hang on a minute, I can't pick the bloody thing up. What's this about?
Yeah.
I can't imagine how horrendous that must have been for a new player. Like, for me, it didn't really bother me too much. There was workarounds and, ways you could, if you know what you're doing with DayZ, you can always find ways of making things work when they shouldn't. But, it's one of those things where I can't imagine how horrific that must have been for a new player picking the game up for the first time, seeing this lovely new brand new maps essentially for new players, and then realizing they can't do a damn thing.
And it was one of those. It was a pretty bad bug, a pretty important function of the game. You know, essentially at its core, it's a looter game, and you couldn't even loot properly.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah,
I'm glad that's over and done with to the most part.
Yeah, it's pretty good at the moment. I don't think there's anything too bad. I know Minder has been talking a bit about problems with bullet hit registration, which I didn't quite understand.
I saw that.
He was talking about a bullet went through his arm, then his chest, and then his lung, and I was like, but a bullet would do that. A high caliber bullet would penetrate through your arm, through your chest, and potentially through your lungs as well. So I couldn't quite understand.
I think his issue was where I think a couple of years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think didn't Bohemia say they were taking out the whole internal organs thing?
Yes, I do.
So theoretically,
I believe so. Yeah.
Theoretically, it should have just been that bullet, because I read his entire Twitter that whole feed when it come up. So theoretically, looking at it, it should have been a case that the bullet went through his arm, through his chest, caused X amount of bleeding, and then that was it. But it went through his arm, through his chest, and registered a lung, which obviously, in a real world scenario makes a whole bunch of sense. But for the basic idea of the game as it stands, there shouldn't have even been a lung there to penetrate. And when you've got, granted it's a high caliber bullet, it's going to do a shit ton more damage than, say a 380 auto or something. But it did seem like that. Hit registration's always been a weird one for DayZ as well. But it did seem like that bullet did a little bit more than it probably should have in that very specific scenario.
I do agree you die too easy at the moment. I think I'm becoming a bit of a broken record on that, but at the moment, and maybe they have turned on critical organs again, but it seems 9 out of 10 times, if not more, you get shot, you're dead. There's no uncon status. There's no lying there wondering, are they going to execute me? Are they going to bandage me and tie me up and, whatever. It's just shots fired, you are dead screen, which is very disheartening.
Yeah, and I think that's where things like with modders and things comes in to an extent to sort of help patch the bad parts of the game, when you've got things like rubber rounds and things like that. Because if you hit someone with a rubber slug, that's not necessarily going to kill them. It's going to knock them out. So it does give you that chance for more interaction, that more role play side of the game, without having to worry too much about, am I bleeding? Am I now going to die because someone walked within 10 feet of me?
It's just a risky thing, the old rubber bullets, because at the end of the day, a shotgun still sounds like a shotgun. They can't tell that you fired rubber slugs, and you take that chance and they're going to turn around and just unleash hell on you. Rody in chat has mentioned probably the worst bug at the moment is having to cut up people's bodies to get their guns or that item they have in their hands. And Captain Cuddles also said, I do agree that DayZ is in a better place now than it has been. And he also said, for you, Thurston, that's nice to hear that despite what we see on the surface with expansion, that behind the scenes the players are hopefully going to get a better player experience.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, hopefully, we're not going to please everyone with what we release and what we do. Some people are going to sit there and be like, oh, this is a problem. Some others are going to be like, wow, this is cool, but can this be changed? We don't aim to please everyone. We just aim to provide a better experience for as many players as we can.
Yep.
Now, and that's...
Sorry?
While that's proving currently very challenging due to, we need 1.08 to release on experimental, because there are some changes in there that we desperately... It's going good for us so far.
Yeah,
we're very hopeful.
Now we'll address this next point. It was a post on Twitter I saw that really intrigued me. I'll just wait for it to load up so I can refresh my memory.
Oh, is this the one about the achievements?
Yes. I did
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's really cool.
Achievements in future DayZ. I tried to include basic stuff like eat, drink, etc., but also some survival, traveling, PvP, and co-op actions. I believe that some of these actions could be a nice ab reaction for achievements. Pardon me, achievements hunted. No, it's not Corona. And I thought it was brilliant. I like Danny Boy's response. Tie random survivor you met 1 hour earlier with handcuffs or other. Smack random survivor with baseball hat around head until dead. Repeat 20 times with different random survivors you meet. I love Danny Boy. He's just...
And I love the fact that underneath that, DayZ has replied to the original post, but just ignored Danny Boy. Yes. Not said anything to him, as if his post doesn't exist.
Well, to be fair, they did post it a day prior to him posting his comment.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that they didn't
reply.
Even just as a laugh. Yeah, even just as a as a bit of a laugh, just messing about, a bit of light-hearted banter, just reply. But yeah, I think the idea of achievements in DayZ is brilliant. I'm surprised, to be fair, that they haven't done that yet. I don't obviously I'm not a developer, so I don't know what goes into making something like that happen. But I'm surprised with a game like DayZ, it's not.
But they didn't respond to Danny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like that. I like even James Lesian's comments here. Weeks, not months. Survive 24 hours with one character. Friendly and Cherno. Give a successful... I like that. DayZ Commander. Kill 10 players. DayZ Commander. Wasn't that the name of the old Arma 2 mod?
The launcher.
Launcher, yeah. So I like that. He's got some brilliant ones there. And I'm certain if they threw it open to the community... there'd be people who'd be able to give them so many other little references. Dean's Beans, knock out a player with a can of beans, and just all sorts of stuff.
I think the problem with achievements currently is the game isn't in a position where the community, or the majority of the community, should I say, or at least Reddit, doesn't like the game. So if they release something minuscule like achievements, someone's gonna, or multiple people are just gonna bring up a comment, well, why work on achievements where you could spend time fixing vehicles and stuff like that? I think they're more worried about the community backlash at this current point in time.
Thurston, I think you understand the community better than most do, mate, because as soon as you started, I knew where you were going to go with that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. They could fucking make a cure for cancer, and people would say, well, that was fucking good.
Fix vehicles.
Fix your fucking broken game. Oh, we cured cancer. Don't care. Fix your fucking broken game. Die in hell. Rah! Bloody.
Yep. I've had many arguments on Reddit, Twitter, all that stuff.
I've got a meme for you, mate. I don't know whether you're still watching Arguing with Idiots is like... There we go.
I'm still watching.
Arguing with idiots is like playing chess with a pigeon. No matter how good you are, the bird is going to shit on the board and strut around like it won anyway. So those people, mate, you will just never beat them in an argument.
I like that. That's really good.
That's actually a really good one, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's tickled me.
And I just, that's one of the most perfect memes, and I've got it saved on my phone. So, because I don't mind a bit of an argument, especially on Twitter. And when I realise I'm not going anywhere with it, I just post that one, and I'm out.
It's like a mic drop.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, people like that, I'm way too stubborn, and I enjoy getting the last one. I'm one of those people. So if someone's sitting there arguing, like for instance, I had an argument with someone, I think it was when 1.06 dropped, they were saying, oh, no mention of vehicles, this, that, the other. And I just had literally like a 2-hour argument with them. And it got to the point of where we were just sending full stops, like periods, because we wanted the last word.
As Captain Cuddle said, sometimes I just wish people could be constructive when having a discussion over a bloody game. And one of the things I quite often post is just, does it make you feel good being so angry about it? Like I try to focus on things that make me happy. And if I'm not enjoying something, like for a while there, I wasn't enjoying playing on the server I was playing on tonight because I just kept on getting killed. So I just said, fuck it. I just walked away from it. And I played other servers for probably a month, 6 weeks, maybe 2 months even. And I've come back to it now.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't making me happy, so I just walked away. I didn't want to get involved in drama and all the rest of it. I just no, this isn't enjoyable. I'm just getting angry. We game because it's an escape from reality. Spending all your time being angry about something, as he said, over a bloody game, just stuns me. It does. It stuns me.
I mean, I agree with you 100% on that. And further in on that point, looking at games and in the survival genre, with DayZ now being released, someone that I follow on Twitter shared something that the DayZ Twitter had put out. I think it was either yesterday or day before, where it's basically just like a little bit of information. You know, here's a bit more info on the roadmap. Here's what we're thinking of over the next couple of months, kind of thing, just to give an update to the community. Happy days, all good with that. I had a little read through. There was some interesting info, but immediately someone in the comments of the tweet had replied saying, "Oh, when are you implementing vehicles?" And then someone underneath that had replied to that saying, "Did you even fucking read it?" And that's when I went back and read it and went, "Oh no, they did actually say in the article that DayZ posted about vehicles and that we are looking at doing vehicles, but at the moment the map's a little bit small for that, so we'll do that later on." And as soon as I read that and read that bloke clearly hadn't read it, like I'm sure a lot of people here know, I cannot deal with stupid fucking idiots that can't be bothered to read things and do simple things like that. I literally pressed that big red X at the top right of my screen, got rid of Twitter and went for a walk because I thought I am gonna fucking go to jail for shit I will say to this person in a minute. I had to get up and walk. I could feel the blood boiling. I went and made myself a cup of tea, got some fresh air, and came back and didn't open up Twitter for another couple of hours because I was like, I am gonna go mental. I was like, I can't see how something is. And the blog post they put up was about, maybe it would have taken less than 5 minutes to read, and the word vehicles was in block capital letters and underlined, for Christ's sake. All it takes is just a quick read, and I just couldn't deal with it.
Do you know one thing that annoys me more than anything? When people sit there and say that they paid like $40 for the game and haven't got their money's worth, but they've got like 2K hours or something.
Yeah.
You definitely got more than enough.
Yeah. Even like an hour, like, or 100 hours, sorry, worth of content justifies, you know, at least that sort of money. If I had a good time whilst playing it and it has replayability, I'm happy. You know, I'll go back to it in the future. But if it was like, you know, 40 for, I don't know, something that you could play for 2 hours and then done, then I understand the anger. But in this case, no.
It's one of those things, isn't it, where like it's just people just love to just get involved in some sort of drama, get their point across. Even if they don't have a point, they'll find a point that they want to try and get across. And they just love to make themselves look stupid on social media. It's one of my favourite things. It's like people watching when you're out and about, except you're sat at home in the comfort of your own home with your feet up, just looking at Muppets. I absolutely love it sometimes.
The thing is, though, even though they're not connected, they always default back to the same points over and over.
Oh yeah.
It's just too funny to watch people humiliate themselves and then you call them out on it.
See, I don't even bother calling them out. I just sit and watch and let someone else call them out. And it's like sitting at the cinema and watching a good film. I was like, I don't need to be involved. I didn't need to be cast in this movie when I can sit at home, watch it on telly, and thoroughly enjoy myself and see everyone else do something daft.
Some people, mate, there's no point trying to reason with some people that are out there. They're just insane. Absolutely insane. And like I said, unless there's a reason for them to be angry about something, they won't be a part of any happiness to do with something that just, for whatever reason, like I said earlier, show me on the doll where the DayZ touched you.
Yeah.
It's sad.
DayZ is like the explosive uncle that we've all had, though. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
We love it, but we love it still. It's blood. It's relative. It's family. But please, for fuck's sake, stop drinking.
When you were saying before about with the bug we had over Christmas and that, but we still managed to play through it. The hardcore DayZ people, I make a joke, that the day that DayZ is bug free, we're all going to be sitting there going, this doesn't feel right. There's always meant to be something wrong, something for us to get angry about, to go, fucking DayZ. And when it might just be that we died because of our own stupidity, it'd be like, wait, I can't blame it on lag. I can't blame it on poor bullet registration. I can't blame it on desync. I can't blame it on broken steps. And it's working as it should.
I think that's part of the charm of DayZ, though, nowadays, isn't it? It's got to the point now where we're so used to the bugs and everything. Like you say, I seriously hope that there never comes a day where DayZ is bug free, because I think that will be the death of the game. Not Dead Side, not any other new games. DayZ becoming bug free and a perfect game will fucking decimate the player base. No one's going to want to play that, because we've all been sat here for so many years thoroughly, getting pissed off with the bugs, but knowing that that's part of the charm of the game and what makes the game what it is. And that'll be horrendous.
The time when that happens, we will start blaming Boydie. No, you're not going to, Roxy.
See, one of the things as well is, you said blaming DayZ is kind of like the normal now, but I remember back in the mod, I used to blame, Armor 2 for how it was and all that stuff. For instance, in Epoch, when I was carrying like a cement wall, gonna go place it down, and my legs would just randomly break. It's it's just one of those things. I feel like DayZ isn't DayZ without bugs.
Yeah.
Even if the bugs sometimes don't always impact your gameplay, or sometimes they always do, it's still a core aspect of what DayZ is.
I've actually had an idea, and I'm going to say it on stream because I don't have the talent to make a video of this caliber, but I would really love for someone who is good at editing videos out there to do a history of DayZ standalone. Each patch and the game-breaking bugs that we had to live through, just as each one came out. Just not even just the game-breaking bugs, but the things that made each patch unique. Probably the big one I remember was 0.55. The broken legs from a step and a fall was nearly every single patch for so long. But 0.55, when we had that barren wasteland where there was absolutely fuck all spawning. Most people look back on that one with horror. I look back on that one and say that was one of my all-time favourite patches. Then we went from basically hardly being able to find anything in 0.55 to, I think it jumped to 0.57. It skipped 0.56, I think. And we ended up with military grade loot at those guard houses on the coast. And it just turned into this. There was a massive PvP patch. Everyone was just running around with AKs and that from seconds within spawning. And it was brilliant because each patch had its own persona, its own, 0.55 was all about just get off the fucking coast, get off the coast and you'll be fine. 0.57 was you don't need to leave the coast, you can just stay here and just shoot every motherfucker. It was, the loot explosions when that happened. There's just so many things I look back on fondly that at the time it was like, oh my fucking God. But the first time you found the loot explosion, you walked in there and you just went, what the actual fuck is going on?
I remember that, just about.
Yeah.
I think that was when I first started getting into DayZ. That was back before I had a PC, and I used to go round to Hellfire's house on a weekly basis because his children are my godkids. So I used to go around every week, go and see him, hang out for a few hours, and he'd be like, "Oh, do you want to have a quick jump on DayZ while I go and walk the dog?" I was like, "Yeah, not a problem, mate." And I remember he came back one day and I was like, I was sat there like, what the fuck is this? And he went, "What's going on, mate? You look a bit weird." I was like, "Mate, have a look in this room. What is this?" And there was just a shit ton of gear absolutely everywhere that made no sense. And he was like, "Oh, that's a loot explosion." I was like, and that was the first time I'd ever heard that phrase. I was like, I was like, it's pretty, it's pretty self-explanatory. But I was like, what the fuck are you on about? And he explained it to me, and I was like, mate, this game's incredible.
Izard just pointed something out in chat that DayZ was released on a Friday the 13th.
That's perfect, that, isn't it?
But there were so many little things that were unique about. I remember there was that little cell room on Prison Island that the rest of the prison had okay loot, but you always went to that one little small cell, opened the door, and there was just a massive pile of loot all stacked on top of each other. And you could sort through it and get yourself a MP5 and a stack of ammo and mags and maybe a couple of grenades, if I remember rightly. But yeah, there's so many little things that I'm going to ask the question in here just in case people don't watch the spotlight. But Thurston, could you guys recreate the original Chernarus map?
I reckon we probably could, yeah. It's what's the word? It's something that we'd have to invest a lot of time into. Because although the source files for instance, Armor 2 Chenarus are out there, it still takes a lot of time to change all the models, because not all the model names, all the positions are one-to-one, so you'd have to rescale things, we'd have to just do a lot of work. Like, it's easily done.
How much do we have to crowdfund to get you guys to do it?
Well, I'm pretty sure that myself, I'm pretty sure Arkansas
Yes.
and Jacob Mango, as well as a few others, were working on a project at the beginning of last year, I'm pretty sure. It was called A2 DayZ. It was Armor 2 to DayZ. Everything in Armor 2 we were porting to DayZ, including maps. But that has obviously not come out. We all had other things to do.
Izard's just made a comment here. Most buildings on Armor 2 were not enterable, by the way. So would that be an issue for you guys? You'd have to go in and replace those buildings with... and Mondo said the same as well. Would you have to replace those buildings with buildings from the current files?
Chances are that it'd be more work to place every building down individually again, like rebuild the map from the... but for player experience, we'd have to do it that way as opposed to porting all the buildings over. Because if we port all the buildings over, we would again have to scale everything to the player size. Half the buildings wouldn't be enterable, textures would be bad, so we'd have to rebuild it regardless.
Okay, and I'm being dead serious here. I want you guys to come up with a figure and let us know, and we'll start a fucking crowdfund, a fucking Patreon, a fucking whatever, to get you guys to do it. Because I'm not... Well, okay, Mac's saying, no, not Chernarus, but Armor 2 NAPF map. I would pay for this. What's NAPF map?
NAPF, I can't remember if that was a community map or an official. If it was community, we can't do it because of licensing issues.
Yep.
Like, for instance, if I was to release a map on Armor 2 and someone was to try and port it without my permission, I'd technically be against the law because they're infringing my intellectual property.
Yep.
So, unless I previously get permission to do so, I won't be able to.
Because I dead set serious. I know there'd be other maps like Taviana I've heard mentioned and that, but I think you would find there is I myself, I've been getting melancholy for the good old days of DayZ, as I call it. The old Northwest Airfield. Even a kind of a bastardization. Like, I would like to see the old Northwest Airfield, but still have Tizzy. The old Miskino tents, where I hardly ever went there because I'm a pussy. And that was that was Sniper Central. You always had people up on the fucking West Hills. You had people on the East Hills waiting for that poor little fucking idiot named Boydie to go wandering around there looting up and then all hell just fucking unleashes on you with snipers from hiding under every single tree. It's insane. And yeah, they're just saying there's Sumrak's Demols will be the next big thing.
Yeah.
The mods could bring a lot of people back.
Yeah, one thing you brought up was Taviana. That will more than likely never be brought to DayZ legally, only because the original creators of Taviana are making their own game called Taviana Origins.
Yep.
Or they sold the rights to that. The people who are making the game on those two. and they won't allow for it to be used anywhere else.
Yep, which is fair enough. I've got no issue with that. You know, people deserve to make a penny from what they do, and that's why I've said to you that, you know, let us know a ballpark figure and we'll start a GoFundMe. I'll do a fucking video, and I'm certain there'd be other people who would promote it as well, to hit a target to get you guys to create it, because you guys are doing this as a pure passion project pretty much. I'm a big believer in you should be rewarded for that.
Maybe we could see DayZ Expansion DLC in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll charge you $29.99 for that.
I think you'd be daft not to, almost.
Yeah. Nah, I feel like if I was to, because I've done maps in the past, just like, you know, personally learning it, trying to be a trick of all trades in a way. I feel like I could do it, but if I was to do it, it'd be for free, you know, much like expansion. With all the donations, we don't take any of the money. That's strictly for models, licenses, sound, stuff like that.
See, I was going to ask you that, so we'll touch back on that again later in the actual spotlight interview. But I was curious about that because I see you guys do have a donation tab, and I wanted to promote that because I've seen a lot of videos done about the expansion, but no one ever mentions, and it's something I want to talk in more detail about. You know, the costs, because I know from having run a community myself a few years back, and even just, you know, being a streamer and doing things and having to get artwork done and stuff like that, and there's a lot of costs. There's a lot of costs that people don't think about. So yeah, we'll talk in more detail about that, because, you know, as much as it's a passion project for you guys, this is going to be benefiting the whole DayZ community, PC community at least as a whole. So if people have got a few bucks to spare, then yeah, definitely they should be chucking it in to help support. Was there any other topics? I don't know if there was.
I'm not sure actually, now I think about it.
Any good videos you guys have watched the last week or so?
I think, well, to be fair, the only ones that jump straight into my mind really are going to go down the same expansion route there, with Septic Falcon putting out some really good videos. So I watched a couple of them last night, and
yep.
You know, so basically showcasing obviously what the expansion's going to be and how it's looking so far. And I think that's really the only main DayZ videos I've been catching up on this week. So
and Rab Plays as well did a very good video as well, where he jumped in the
that one I haven't seen. Yeah, that one I've not seen, but I'm going to go on that. Mostly
focused on the helicopters. He also showed the little gyrocopter, which
nice.
Yeah, I did like the title of his video. I think it was "This is going to change DayZ."
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah,
this will change DayZ.
Yep. And Rav is he's growing massively, and he deserves it too. He's probably the first person who's truly laying a claim to being the new Wobo. He's not as much into the science perspective, delving into the files and stuff, but he's doing a lot of the good work with stuff like his Mythbusters. I love his Mythbuster series. G'day, Lax, how you doing, buddy? Lax Hawthorne's just jumped into the chat.
Oh, now things get interesting.
It was interesting. I was actually talking about Lax today. It's a bit off topic. Do any of you guys know who Ceremor is?
No.
Name doesn't ring a bell.
It doesn't to me either.
I'm going to...
Although I get the feeling that I probably should know who that is.
No. He's a bit of a niche streamer. Bada boom, bada bing. VigilanteGamer.
Yeah, but quickly on the topic of expansion, there is always one video by one of our developers, Dancer Jesus. There's always one that pops to mind whenever I think of expansion. Where should I put it?
In the chat.
Okay. It's the mapping comparison, what he's done to kind of give Chenarus, a breath of fresh air.
Yep. Well, that's one of the things I liked with what Rav did, what you guys are doing. He said he spawned in and he didn't even recognise where he was. You guys have basically done a complete overhaul of the map to give it a more apocalyptic feel, which I've always thought was one of the disappointing things about DayZ, is that it didn't look like a civilization 2 years after.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just put a link to a video in chat. This is an interview that was done back on October 9th, 2014 by VigilanteGamer. Other than an interview he did with me with Brian Hicks, this is the only other person he interviewed. And it was a guy called Ceremor, who he still streams DayZ to this day. He took a bit of a break there for a while. He's been playing it again lately. I was actually watching him today. And when you think of Lax Hawthorne, you think of Uncle Ray Ray, you think of Benfruit, you think of these guys who play the crazy antics in the game. Ceremor was one of the first, and oh my fucking God, he is brilliant at playing a psychopath. Like, he's truly... I was chatting with Gunstar Pocket, if any of you guys know him as well. We were watching Smokestream, and we'd actually been talking... because I did a raid of Gunstar the other day, and he said, thanks, mate. And I said, you are one of the OGs of the DayZ streaming community for me, mate. I was watching your stuff back years ago. And he just said, yeah, Ceremor's another one, but he's a bit of he's a bit unhinged, I think he called him. And guess who Smoke bumped into in game? Fucking Ceremor. And I just typed it in chat and I went, this guy sounds like Ceremor. And we checked, and sure enough, Ceremor was there in the game with Smoke, and Smoke knocked him out because he was so fucking hyperactive and crazy. It was Lax is saying in chat, crazy, please don't judge me. Lax, you should watch some of this Ceremor guy, mate. He'll give you some good inspiration.
We will definitely judge you, Lax, but we still love you, so it's okay.
But it's great seeing all these new streamers coming up, like Lax, like Benfruit, like Project Red Tie. All these new guys coming up and just smashing it out of the park with this supposedly dead game.
There's so many phenomenal streamers coming out now. Like you say, all those names there are absolutely perfect examples. You know, you've got all these guys who've got, massive personalities and are using them in such an incredible way that I don't know how anybody can say in any way that this game is anything close to dead. With guys like you say, with like guys like Lax, Benfruit, Uncle Ray Ray doing the things they do and creating that sort of content. I would love to be able to do what some of these guys do, but I am far too much of a moron to sit there and actually pull that off.
You actually
Me too.
You actually just reminded me of something when you said that as well. Again, yes, I'm in love with this guy. Get over it. Don't judge me. But VigilanteGamer, I follow him on Twitter because he's a good friend of mine. He put a post out. He watched one of Toprek's last videos called There's Always One More. And he put a post up. The way he's able to predict and time the movement of players, control and place the reticule, lead his shots, and just fucking hit the target every time impresses the shit out of me. I wouldn't attempt most of his shots, but wait for a better position. Now, Toprek's video, There's Always One More. That is a video that from this last week, I highly recommend anyone out there go watch. It's not just Tope, it's also Minder in there, and it just shows how good these guys are at what they do. It's like watching Shroud play PUBG or any sort of game. Tope is on that level, and Minder is as well. The pair of them are just sitting. I couldn't play with them because I'm such a potato. But they turn around and they say, "Player, he's dead. Player, he's dead. Player, he's dead. Player, he's dead. Player moving left to right, he's dead." And I'll just be turning around going, "Where?" What? They're all dead. Yeah.
So it's almost like an art form.
Yeah, they're that fucking good. And I said to Vig, it'd be great for him to do a breakdown. Vig did this series, Tactical Breakdowns, where he would do an analysis of other people's gameplay in a video. And I think he summarized his thing would be he shouldn't be able to do what he does, but he still does it.
Yeah. I think that going back to what we were saying earlier about the excuse me, about the achievements, I think one of the guys who had posted an idea for an achievement, like DayZ Commander killed 10 players in a single life.
Yeah.
I think that perfectly sums up how easy it would be for those guys to get that achievement, and and quite frankly deserved it would be for them to get that achievement and that moniker. Because like you say, I couldn't even dream of doing what they do, not in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Thurston? Did you have a video that stood out for you this last week?
Ooh, this last week.
Lax is saying he believes it's all a waste of time. Just get the can of peaches out.
He's not wrong.
He's a bit unhappy. They actually apparently nerfed the shovel a bit. That was his weapon of choice there for a long time.
To be fair, I can't say I blame them in a way, considering it was like, was it 100% hit rate damage on hit rate or something?
No, it was pretty much
it was like
KO.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it was like compared. I think it was Asmondium put something up on Twitter where that he normally does with showing all the different melee weapons and what their amounts of damage they do per hit or something, and it was like that and the sledgehammer. I think the shovel and the sledgehammer, and they were a cut above everything. Everything else was like below 50%, and then those were the only two that did an incredibly ridiculous amount of damage.
If you don't follow Asmondian on Twitter, I've just put his link in the chat. Please follow the guy. He is absolutely brilliant. I've asked him to do a spotlight interview, but English is not his native language, so he doesn't feel very comfortable, which I understand. But I'm just finding that one that you mentioned. Where is it?
I'm just on his Twitter now trying to find it.
The stuff he does is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
He's done some stuff for expansion as well.
I was hoping it was actually a question I was going to ask, because more servers should be employing him to do the loading screen sheets for them, because they're just so professional. Yeah, here it is. Got it.
Now, I was going to say, I've just posted a link to it in your chat, Boydie, as well. I've just spotted it myself.
There's the shovel, 100, and the sledgehammer was 100 as well, heavy attack.
Yeah.
And 50-50 for a light attack.
Yeah, and then if you notice the heavy attacks for every other weapon, look, nothing goes above 40.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And when you consider an axe, I know what I'd prefer to get hit with. I'd prefer a shovel to an axe any day. I'd prefer a shovel to a pickaxe any day.
I just prefer a shovel out of all of those, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'd prefer just not to get hit, but
I'll probably take the fist. The fist, and then looking at the rest of it.
Would you care to rephrase that, Boydie?
If you want to take the fist, let the man take the fist.
Oh, you guys are just so... This is what I have to work with. Oh my fucking god.
We're English, is what we do.
It did sound pretty suspect, didn't it?
But yeah, to answer your question, this is probably my favorite video for this past week. It's from Anarchy, and it's a expansion video. It's Heli versus Heli fight towards the end.
What up, dudes? A few of you said you'd like to see some Heli flying. I figured we'll make a short video based around
that. Yeah, he seems to be one that's come up a bit recently as well. I've noticed his videos seem to be showing up quite a lot.
Northwest Airfield.
He seems to be getting a bit of popularity.
What's the little map in the bottom right corner?
On the coast. See if we can find anybody.
Oh, that's GPS.
Nice.
Yeah,
oh, actually, now I think about it, you mentioned there, Thurston, about Frankie as well. I know we've sort of flogged this this whole conversation in the last few weeks to death with Frankie, but I don't know if any of you saw that Sada put out a little clip on his Twitter the other day. About we could be seeing Frankie in a few months.
Yeah, no, he released an expansion video, and in it he gave away details of Frankie. He said around about 3 months until the DayZ series is complete and released.
Yeah, they've got episodes done, but he wants to get the whole series done so he can release them, which I totally respect. You know, love him or hate him, the guy is an artist of what he does.
Yeah, true.
You know, he created the biggest series all time of DayZ, so he knows what he's doing, and who are we to tell him how to do it?
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Be very interested to see what they're working on. I think we've said it before now as well. I absolutely love Sada Plays, but I feel so sorry for him having to get that exact same question every 5 minutes of when's Frankie coming back? What's Frankie doing? How's Frankie getting on? Are we going to see Frankie anytime soon? How he's still friends with Frankie after all that? Because that would, for me, maybe he's a better person than me. It's almost certain. But if I was just constantly hearing, you know, where's Frankie, and thinking, you must be second best to Frankie. That would mess with my head something awful. He's clearly a better man than I am.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yep.
It's not like he's putting out shit content himself either. Sada's doing his own really good stuff himself.
He's an amazing content creator.
Yeah, he deserves all his accolades of his own.
He's brilliant. I've used quite a few clips of his in my best moments of DayZ. He's a funny guy. And he can PvP, and he's just got a really good. He's very easy to listen to as well. Just quickly, Coach, are you still in chat? Coach is the guy who I was telling you about, Thurston, who used to be a chopper pilot in the military.
Left from Solnichny. Gonna grab you.
Yeah, one thing I would love, I know I keep on bringing up expansion and we should leave it until later, but I would love to see a Frankie and Sada series on expansion. I would love to see that.
That would be incredible.
Are you prepared to do all the custom work he wants done to...
Oh, of course. No questions asked, of course.
Someone clip that and send it to Sada and Frankie on Twitter.
I will do it for free. Clip that.
There you go. Someone clip that and get on Twitter and tag at Frankie on PC and Sada and let them know that there's a crew of people willing and with the skills to get a new series of Frankie and Sada and DayZ.
Because it would just be amazing. It'd absolutely be amazing.
If you do, and he does get in contact with you, please try and get him to do an interview with me. He said he won't do an interview, but that wasn't directly at me, but it was in a conversation where I was talking with Sada about it. Him and Rocket are the two people I want to get. They're the ace or the king and queen of hearts.
I shall, if I do get in contact, I shall mention it.
Tell him I'm a really nice guy.
You need to badger him.
Yeah.
Badger him about it. Say, oi, get on it. Quick as you can.
I still send him a message about every 3 months, the same as Rocket. I send him a message about every 3 months. Just throwing it out there. Still keen to do an interview. And then I wait about another 3 months. And then I check in again. And I send another message. Yeah, they haven't said no explicitly. So I just keep on asking because maybe one day they'll change their mind.
You're going to grind them down until eventually they just give in. And then we'll all get exactly what we want and need.
It's been too long about some Frankie content.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. By the looks of things, not long left.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
In the grand scheme of things, 3 months isn't that long compared to how long the previous content, or since it has been, since you released another video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gives us something to look forward to in this current climate.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exactly what we need. I think things like expansion, especially when it comes to the DayZ community, things like expansion and the idea of Frankie and Sada, releasing content together again. I think in this current climate, that's exactly, we need that little bit of something to look forward to break up all the shite.
The Helis exploded.
Yep.
But no, those choppers look amazing, mate. They really do.
Well, thank you for that.
Okie dokie then, ladies and gentlemen. We will call it quits there on the Boomer Zone podcast for this week. Thurston, thank you so much. Brim, thank you so much yet again, my man.
We are going to...
No worries, my friend. No worries at all.
Now, Thurston, if you want to hang around, what we might do is I'll just mute the stream, and I'm having trouble getting those files you sent through to open up for me. So, yeah.
Okay. See them. Okay.
Awesome. All the best, everyone. I will be back shortly.
Indeed. Have a good one, guys. I'll catch you later on.
Catch you later.